You're watching the Sports and Political channel of LB. If you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share these videos on your social media platforms. Let's get down to business. So, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the video, some NBA news just came down regarding the Brooklyn Nets, and that Ben Simmons, with his quote-unquote knee injury, and TJ Warren with a shin injury is out. Edward Sumner and Day'Ron Sharpe are available to play now. Edward Sumner has suffered a Achilles injury, right? But I want to focus more on Ben Simmons' quote-unquote knee injury. First of all, and ain't nothing wrong with Ben Simmons, okay? There ain't a goddamn thing wrong with this motherfucker. And you guys in the mainstream media, preferably ESPN, that's what I want to focus on. Because you guys coddled this man. Especially when this report came out about him and his mental health and all that. There wasn't a goddamn thing wrong with Ben Simmons then. I called it. Because see, when he was getting them checks, and he was, popping them bottles and shaking his stinking ass in the club, he wouldn't have no mental issues then. When he's out there in the goddamn car dealership trying to figure out what car is going to match his clothes he's wearing, he ain't having no mental issues then. So now all of a sudden, you guys want to come up the rear and call this man out now. Y'all want to call out Ben Simmons now. I mean, you should have been doing that. In Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals in 2021 not tell you what you needed to know about that dude? God damn, that chicken crispy. Did it not tell y'all then? What's up, Tessie? I told y'all back when my channel was nowhere near as big as it is now. I was talking about Ben Simmons back then, about how he kept their ceiling and how he wasn't mentally tough and how he wasn't built for that. But since my platform is not as big as other channels, then I'm not going to get the recognition for calling us out way before it was. I'm not going to get that recognition. But that's fine with me, because I can take the victory lap all by myself. You guys in the and if you listen to people in the mainstream media, you will be the last to know. If you listen to a guy like me who's able to tell you and predict what the fuck happens before it happens, you'll be the first to know. Now, my thought process and the way I disseminate information is this. I tell you what you need to know, and what you do with that information is up to you. But what you cannot say is that LB didn't tell you. That's what you cannot say. What's up, 360 Kings? Your suit night. Everybody else that's up in here, appreciate y'all. Hit that like button, because I'm only telling the fucking truth about this kangaroo hopper. Hit the fucking like, because we about to get into it, right? Because I'm talking about these two jackasses right here. These two have done nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, but continuously put on minstrel shows for the world to see. What's up, Tyler Brown? What's up? Now, Ben Simmons getting roasted by Kendrick Perkins like Kendrick Perkins got any room to be roasting anybody, because during his playing days, he was a fucking bum too. So, hey, the way I see it, when it comes to the situation with Kendrick Perkins and Ben Simmons, it takes a bum to know a bum. That's right. Kendrick Perkins, the preeminent bum in our generation in the NBA, he know what it's like to suck ass on the basketball court. He know what it's like to only score like a couple points a game every once in a while. So if anybody would know what it's like to be a bum, it's Kendrick Perkins. Because it takes the bum to know a bum. You seeing people out there saying Ben Simmons better than Magic Johnson. Man, get the fuck out of here. See, when people say stuff like that, that's just not even worth talking about. Them people not even worth talking to. That is straight, raw, unadulterated fanboyism. That I will lick the streaks of 3 weeks off the drawers of Ben Simmons because that's how much I love him. Right? Those type of people will do that. And those type of people will say stupid shit like that. Stuff like that's not even worth commenting on. Now, Kendrick Perkins went on Twitter, and the tweet came from Legion Hoops. He says that he was going to change his name to Ben Perkins because he had the same stat line as him. And he's starting to think that he's afraid of the moment. What do you mean you starting to think he was afraid of the moment? The game 7 at home against the Atlanta Hawks in the 2021 Eastern Conference semifinals. Did that game not tell you that that man was afraid of the moment? What's up, Gideon GG Chillin 702? Did that game not tell you that that motherfucker ain't got it? So he scores no points and take 3 of Ben Simmons' return to Philadelphia, and now you've seen the light. Now the heaven's gates has opened, and you've seen for what Ben Simmons for what he was. That just goes to show you, you guys don't got an ear to the streets. You guys don't pay attention to nothing. You guys are your bourgeois bubble, and you talk amongst yourselves, and then you guys try to manipulate us into this thing the way, hey, we got to give Ben Simmons more time. Fuck that. I'm not giving that motherfucker no more time. The sands of the hourglass has ran out, goddammit. That motherfucker is going to get all the smoke on this goddamn channel. And as long as that kangaroo hopper dons an NBA uniform, I will be on his ass like flies on shit. I promise you that. I promise you that. Because that man has no business donning an NBA uniform. See, y'all going to go into histrionics and this over-the-top blithering, bloviating babble about Ben Simmons now. Ben Simmons going 2 games in a row. The game against Philadelphia and the game against Detroit, where he scored no points at halftime. Matter of fact, in the Detroit game, he didn't even score at all. He get ricked across the face. Then he leaves to go to the locker room, never to return, and all of a sudden they had a knee injury? Are you fucking kidding me? That man quit on his team. KD saw it. Seth Curry saw it. Markieff Morris saw it. Hell, the coach in the post-game press conference saw it. At this point, this man need to be out of the NBA. Yeah, he can go to the National Basketball League down there in Australia. Maybe he could be an all-star there. Maybe he could be a living legend there. Maybe down under where the deer, kangaroo, and antelope play and koala bears, then he can go down there and maybe, just maybe after he win them a couple championships, they can have a statue of him outside that arena down under. But here in the good old US of A, in the National Basketball Association, he ain't cutting it. That's what I'm saying. Don't talk to me about Carmelo Anthony when that bum-ass nigga's still in the fucking league. Don't talk to me about DeMarcus Cousins about when that bum-ass nigga's still in the fucking league. Don't talk to me about Lance Stevenson or Kenneth Faried or Dwight Howard when you got this bum-ass nigga and Ben Simmons still in the fucking league. And now these guys want to come up and going to big old histrionics and mass hysteria about Ben Simmons when we already seen it for what it was. How you guys in the mainstream media are supposed to have all these resources, right? Y'all supposed to have all these resources. Y'all supposed to be having people feet on the ground investigating stuff. Y'all got beat writers. Y'all got other inside people. Hell, I'm pretty sure you talked to some athletes behind the scenes. How in the devil did y'all just now realizing this? Were y'all coddling Ben Simmons the whole goddamn time? Because I have a suspicion that y'all were. I have on good faith that you guys were calling Ben Simmons. Because how could you sit up there and cap for this guy, hide behind mental health? And we just throw that out there like it's nothing, right? Meanwhile, you got people coming back with one arm, one leg, fighting overseas, doing the bidding of the United States in the military. Guys in the Army, guys in the Marine Corps, guys in the Navy, coming back with goddamn one arm, one leg. Hell, motherfuckers losing an eye and all that. They got to walk with a prosthetic leg for the rest of their life. All this man got to do is dunk a goddamn basketball, but this motherfucker would rather dunk his ball in Instagram models.
Mm-hmm.
He'd rather do. And yet, I'm supposed to sit here and cater to his feelings and all that. That motherfucker makes $35 million a year. He makes $37 million next year. And on the last year of his goddamn deal, he's drawing $40 million. Now, you tell me what's up. You tell me what's up. And that's what you want to commit to? The fuck out of here. What you got, Gideon?
Salute. What's cracking, slacking, LB? Salute everyone in the chat. Ben Simmons lacks heart. I'm sorry. Ben Simmons lacks heart. He lacks passion. He has the heart of a tin man. I mean, yes, he can defend and pass, but he doesn't try to score the ball. He's not a great finisher. He can't shoot. Ben Simmons just lacks passion, man. And he quits on his team a lot. The fact that he quitted on he quitted on his team against the Pistons was so wrong and disrespectful.
Hold on, Gideon, because I got to address something in the comment section. My holy king, this ain't got nothing to do with James Harden. This has absolutely nothing to do with James Harden. Absolutely nothing to do with James Harden. Okay, you can say that all you want to, but last time I checked, when Ben Simmons was in Philadelphia, he was sticking up the joint there.
Mm-hmm.
When he came to Brooklyn, he was sticking up the joint in Brooklyn. So, look, we're going to talk about James Harden in another video, but James Harden has absolutely nothing to do with Ben Simmons playing like shit. So we're not going to get off of that. We're not going to deflect and distract with another NBA player. We're not doing that. We're staying right here on Ben Simmons. Because
right.
Ben Simmons playing like shit.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we're not talking about James Harden. Go ahead, Gideon.
Right. But Ben Simmons, man, yes, he has talent, but I just think he lacks the heart, though. He's a good defender and passer. And yes, he can fly to the rim, but he doesn't try to score. He can't shoot. He's a horrible free throw shooter. The dude has the heart of a tin man. I just don't think he gets his full effort out there, though. And to me, he's scared to fail. You know what I mean, LB? He's scared to fail, man. I just think Ben's scared to fail and scared to take challenges, man. And that's not what you need if you're an NBA player. If you're anything in life, you got to be willing to give your best effort, no matter if you win or lose. But I don't think it's his best effort, though. And that's his problem, though. And that's what some people don't get, though. And I don't even listen to the media. I don't, because the media just talks for the sake of talking. They say a bunch of wrong and stupid opinions. It's like, I don't listen to the media, you know?
All right, so let me answer this question in the comment section. You said, "If there's nothing to protect the franchise from this?" Unfortunately, no, there's not. But the next round of collective bargaining starts in a couple years, and you're going to see something in place to where, and they're going to call it the Ben Simmons rule. You're going to call it the Ben Simmons rule,
Right.
and what you can see happening is a couple scenarios in play here. You're going to either have one to where when you don't play based on non-injury, you don't get paid. That's the first scenario.
Right.
The second scenario is if you don't play a percentage of games throughout your contract or throughout the season, we're going to dock your pay, and you're not going to get your full contract. There's going to be some clause in there to where a player is going to have to play a certain X amount of games for him to get paid. There's not going to be no more of this. Well, I'm going to take a spa day, and I'm going to still get my game checks, because as of right now, as of this current collective bargaining agreement, no matter what happens, the player gets paid no matter what happens. But that's going to change come the next round collective bargaining. I'm telling y'all right now, I'm calling it. I called it before. There's going to be a goddamn strike.
Yeah. Salute, LB. Salute to the chat.
So
I think you're right. I think this NBA is like the whole collective bargaining agreement is going to be like, the economy. There's going to be ebbs and flows. Like with the previous, what was like 10 years ago when that strike happened? I think 2012, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2011, 2012,
yeah. So I think that gave a lot more leverage to players, but now I think it's going to be more towards kind of a movement towards the owners are going to be trying to get some of that power back, because players like Ben Simmons is really testing these guys.
Ben doesn't care. In my opinion, Ben doesn't care, man. It's like, and
hold on. I want to talk about these media members, because these mainstream media members are just as responsible for this bullshit that's going on.
Right.
They feel a whole. So let me get this straight. You can sit up here and cook Giannis all day till the cows come home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Were you protecting this guy? What y'all think about that? What do you think about the double standards that people like Stephen A. Smith and this two-legged Rottweiler Kendrick Perkins out here doing?
They lie. The media lies. Like, the media doesn't tell you the ins and outs of the game. They just lie to push the narrative. And people should not listen to the media and make their own research and use their own eye test.
Hey, hold on real quick. Hey, we need to stay on top in the comment section. All right, don't be bringing up no other player, no other scenario. We need to stay on top.
I think what my holy king is trying to do is trying to protect Ben Simmons. For what? Like the guys he's trying to
talk about that. We need to stay on topic. We talking about Ben Simmons here. I ain't talking about nobody else. So don't be bringing nobody other player into the conversation. We talking about Ben Simmons. And if we can't do that, then I'm gonna have to start booting some people. But we need to keep on subject. Stay on subject.
Yo, LB, the only media member who I seen was really consistent about Ben from day one, even though I criticized him a lot as an analyst, is Shaq, which is really telling considering he went to LSU along with Ben Simmons. But he said from the jump, he's not built to be a guy that you can lean on to galvanize teammates. Yeah, y'all saying he's good as a passer. That don't mean that he's good as a teammate.
True. And
Shaq
Ben had expectations
since the draft time. Like, he called that since the beginning. When guys like Skip was on their high horse talking about he has LeBron-esque or Magic-esque qualities to him, Shaq was like, y'all need to pump the brakes on this kid.
And my holy king is making the excuse, oh, Ben Simmons has a bad back. I don't want to hear that, man. Everyone is injured. You go out there and play. And you get it done. It doesn't matter Ben has a bad back. If you're hurt, don't play. If you're on the court, you're responsible for what happens on the court, you know? And Ben Simmons had expectations to be great.
Who else is this? My holy, let's see. Big Wash, Courtney Washington, Wills, what's up, y'all? Appreciate y'all for being up in here. But this is my thing, right? Sure, you can put Jock Vaughn into that equation, whatnot. How do we know that he didn't get specific orders from the top that, hey, look, I didn't commit $35 million for this guy to be sitting on the bench, and I ain't commit no $35 million for this guy to be looking like he's auditioning for the Kids' Choice Awards. I brought this guy to play, and I want to see my return of it. How you know Jock Vaughn not getting that from the top? You saw how frustrated Jock Vaughn was at that post-game press conference? Because I have it on good faith. Because Jock Vaughn used to play in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Jock Vaughn was an All-American player at Kansas, for crying out loud.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, he had a head coach stay in Orlando. But my thing is this: if it was left up to Jock Vaughn, Ben Simmons would not even so much as don a goddamn NBA uniform.
They never really forced Ben to really be in their system, and that was the problem that he had at LSU. That's what he had from the beginning. When he was at LSU, they catered everything to him. They didn't run a system. They just said, hey, let's just put shooters in the corner, let him just bring the ball up every time. If he can't do anything, the only thing we're going to let him do is just pass out to a shooter. Mm-hmm. And he got stats, but the team sucked. They didn't even make the tournament with the best player in the country because he can't fit in a system. It's just he's just coasting off talent.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to this pre-draft report, y'all. Listen to this pre-draft report. And there was an individual that left that in my comment section a while back when I talked about Ben Simmons before. I wasn't on the jihad like I am on now, but I want y'all to listen. I want y'all to listen to this goddamn pre-draft report, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this was during this time on the Sixers. This what it said. What's up, Too Raw? Hey, it said Simmons' lack of competitiveness in crucial games has raised questions about his character. Those who know him best says he needs things to revolve around him on and off the court, and that he's often been closed-minded to coaching or instruction. That was his pre-draft report.
Yeah, because he was complaining after he left LSU his first year, saying that he wished he had gone to a bigger place like Duke or Kentucky or Kansas. It's like, dude, if you went to a place like that, the coach wouldn't have let you get away with half the stuff you were doing there. He wasn't gonna let you hold on to the ball for 20 seconds on the clock. You was only getting away with stuff because you was able to drive on a bunch of smaller people, a bunch of kids, to be honest with you. When that doesn't work, you have no offensive game outside of driving and kicking. People found that out when he was a rookie, and he never got better at that at any point since then.
Right. All right, Too Raw. All right, Abe, that's my man right there. Y'all go sub to Too Raw for TV. Abe, I know Abe. What's your take, bro? And don't nobody cut off Too Raw. Go ahead, bro.
No, I mean, I didn't catch the beginning of the show, but I'm assuming that they're finally starting to say what we've been saying for 3 or 4 years now. Is that what's going on?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, look, man. I think he should be out the goddamn league. I think at this point, because an organization has to be a fool to get this dude at this point. You gotta be a goddamn fool to want him. If anything, I think the Nets should just send this dude, just send him packing and just pay him out until you don't have to. I mean, because he obviously don't want to play basketball no more. He's not motivated to play. His teammates don't respect him. The coach doesn't respect him. So at this point, get rid of this motherfucker. He doesn't want to play basketball. He wants the money. He wants all the things that come off the court, but he doesn't want to be a basketball player. And it seems like from what you're saying, he's not willing to sacrifice. He wants to be the star. He wants everything surrounded around. He's a narcissist. Who the fuck wants to play with a guy like this?
Like with Giannis, you saw evolution in his game, even though he has weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
You see in off seasons, when he comes out the off season, you see he adds something to his bag. Even if he comes off an MVP season, even if he comes off a championship, he comes back and you see he worked on something. I ain't seen Ben work on none except him shooting threes in some gym footage in just standing still outside of active minutes. Like
And
that's
Ben is right, and Ben is scared to fail. Ben's too scared to fail, in my opinion.
Yes. And like you said, if you don't work on your game, then it gets easier for teams to, you know what I'm saying, game plan for you.
It's true.
It gets easier. So if they know what you're going to do, they're going to, the few things that you do well, they're going to try to take it away from you. So you have to always try to expand your game or make your game multifaceted. And Ben isn't really interested in that. I mean, just because a guy every now and then, you know, comes out and shows he's shooting threes and an empty gym in practice, that shit don't impress me. We've seen Russell Westbrook do that. That don't mean a damn thing. The guy just can't shoot. And with Ben, at least with Russell Westbrook and Draymond Green, even though they're both terrible 3-point shooters, at least they'll try. At least they're not afraid to pull the trigger. This guy won't even pull the trigger, man. So what? That's a terrible, terrible liability to have on offense. You don't have to worry about this guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's just my take, man. The other day was that was the final straw. This guy needs to. They need to just go ahead and send this guy home, man. Send this guy home, and it's a disgrace to the NBA, man.
keep in mind he's like what 26, and he's like around the same age as Brandon Ingram.
Brandon Ingram's getting better.
Yeah, exactly. Like, aren't they around the same age?
Somewhere around it. Let me see.
Well,
Brandon Ingram might be like slightly older, but they're both under 30
well,
years.
Ben is 26. Ben Simmons is 26. And Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram is 20. Brandon Ingram is 25.
So Ben Ingram's younger than Ben. Brandon Ingram's younger than Ben.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. At least you saw at least some improvement on him. I don't see how Ben Simmons can bring any value to a team, especially with the contract that he's getting right now. I don't see it.
All right, so let's talk about this timeline here, because I'm going to talk about this timeline when he was on the Philadelphia 76ers, right? Because this is my thing. And the analogy I'm going to use is, if you're in a relationship, right, you cannot ignore the signs. If you are, say like you about to get with a girl, or with some of you, transformers out there, the person of the same sex, right? But you don't ignore the signs. If this person normally say like he always here at 7 o'clock, or she's always there at 7 o'clock, and then for a few weeks, or they ain't come home till 10. I wonder why. You must be getting some side sausage or some shit, or some side pussy or whatever like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you fail to ignore the signs, you're going to be set up for the downfall. So without further ado, let's get down to business, right? So if we remember back in January 2021, Simmons was mentioned in James Harden trade talks, but the organization was willing to move, rub Ben Simmons the wrong way. And then in the first round against the Washington Wizards, Ben Simmons struggled from the foul line. He shot just 10 of 28 over 5 games. Then if you go to the interview with Bradley Beal had with CBS Sports, he said the Wizards exposed the weakness in Simmons' game that the Hawks were able to capitalize. They said, but at the same time, we kind of exposed the move of fouling Ben Simmons, putting him on the line a few times. Granted, he think in the series they actually made a few. So we had to go away from that instead of just giving away free points. But Ben Simmons was more or less aggressive the first couple games, and it kind of died down and trickled down from there. And then in the second round, he really struggled against the Atlanta Hawks. And Simmons, in 12 total playoff games at that time, made just 25 of 73 attempts from the charity stripe, which is only 34%, the worst mark in a single postseason in NBA history.
Like, it don't matter how tall you are if you're a guard. And
Hold on. I ain't done yet. I'm not done yet.
Got you.
He said Simmons' struggles from the foul line clearly shook his confidence, and that leaked over into the other areas of his game. In the full 7-game series against Atlanta, Simmons took 3 total shots. That's fucking unacceptable, man. 3 shots in 7 games in the fourth quarter? Get the fuck out of here.
It's terrible.
And then, remember, Philadelphia lost game 1, game 5, and game 7 at home. Now, what have you know for a team to lose 3 games in home in a 7-game series?
By Doc Rivers.
He didn't attempt a single shot in the fourth quarter in 5 of the 7 games. Down the stretch in Game 7 in Atlanta, Simmons passed up an open opportunity at the rim in order to potentially drawing a foul and being forced to the line. This is what this motherfucker forgot to dunk a goddamn basketball over Trae Young, a.k.a. Pretty Ricky. Now, I got my issues with Pretty Ricky, but Ben Simmons, you couldn't. All you had to do was dunk the goddamn ball, motherfucker, and you didn't do it. And then all of a sudden now people want to sit up and man, he's mental health. He's dunking a fucking basketball. What the fuck mental health got to do with that? Go ahead, man, because I'm about to blow a goddamn head gasket and catch a stroke. Fucking with this dude.
Like, guards who are liabilities at the free throw line, you don't win. Like, it doesn't matter how tall you are. Like, we've seen this. And that's what he's been having from the beginning. That's what he had from college. If you can't really hit free throws in college, you don't really develop that when you get in the league, especially with somebody with the work ethic of Ben Simmons. And if it's to the point where he doesn't even want to take shots or drive to get to the line, then it messes up your team completely. It's worse than Hack-a-Shaq because Ben is the type of guy who's going to be taking the ball up and trying to run an offense. When they're just going to foul you with no care about it, your team's getting destroyed offensively. That's all I got to say about it. He's not going to get better.
Too raw. Let me ask you this, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because when I think about basketball and its lore and and the history of the game, I look to you for a lot of advice on that on the history of the game. Will you ever see someone play this badly in a stretch of games? Have you ever seen anybody play this poorly?
I mean, not a player with his potential. Not because you got to remember, like I said, they were comparing him to Magic Johnson. I know that sounds absolutely fucking ludicrous.
It's wrong. It's a wrong opinion. It's wrong.
Yeah.
No, it ain't fucking wrong, Gideon. It's blasphemous.
Yeah.
They was comparing this guy LeBron and Magic. The one guy that pops in my mind, he wasn't a Hall of Fame player, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of Nick Anderson and how he kind of fell apart after that finals game.
Yeah, when he missed those 4 free throws in game 1.
Yeah.
Against the Rockets?
Yeah, he never recovered after that. Because at one point, even though the Magic weren't winning, he was averaging 20 points a game. He was a slasher. He wasn't afraid to take it to the basket. His game was a little bit different. Now he changed his game up because they had it Shaq and Penny, but he still was an offensively aggressive player, averaging 14, 15 points a game. But after that, he wanted no parts of the foul line. He used to be a 75% free throw shooter. And then after that series, for the rest of his career, he was around a 40% free throw shooter. So that's why I always say there is a mental aspect to basketball that people sometimes don't take into account. Ben Simmons but I've never seen a guy who had his potential. Ben Simmons, like supposedly, he had borderline Hall of Fame potential. And now this guy is an unreliable role player. I mean, I don't know if I've seen it, especially a guy his age.
Because remember, he was so bad during the stretch of Game 7, Doc Rivers had to take him out the game, bro.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so it brings me back to these 2 buffoons right here. Dark Side Headline, Stephen A. Smith, and the two-legged Rottweiler, Kendrick Perkins. Now, y'all motherfuckers worked at ESPN. Like, look, and I know Kendrick Perkins, the two-legged Rottweiler extraordinaire who won the national dog show competition a couple years ago.
The Westminster champion.
Was like maybe he was, getting them Clutch Client Milk-Bone dog biscuits and shit. I don't know. But y'all just now, what made y'all not realize that then that this man was no good? That's the question I got for you motherfuckers. You two idiots right there. What made y'all, what was going on back then that y'all couldn't see that he was no good then? Because I called it. Too Raw, I know you called it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Part of it, I think, is these people aren't really free to say what they really want to say. They're company men, and Ben Simmons at one point in time was still seen as a guy that had some upside, I guess. So they're still the league, the league and the ESPN have a partnership. So as long as Ben Simmons was seen as a guy that had some sort of upside, they're still going to promote him in a quasi-positive aspect. So I think that's part of it. They don't really, these guys are just hype men for the NBA. They're not real, actual neutral analysts. Not most of them anyway. So that's part of it.
Right. That's why I don't listen to the media. Right.
Man, look, if I want a hype man, I go contact Flavor Flav. You know what I'm saying? He got that Clark and Viking hat at the ready.
Also, may I ask this? Is Ben Simmons a Clutch Sports client?
Yeah.
He got that protection behind him. It seems that a lot of those guys who are represented by Clutch Sports get really babied by the media.
Hey, I did a video yesterday where all of a sudden now you're seeing this, not change something, LB, I just want to mention this right quick. All of a sudden you're seeing this Fred VanVleet to LA stuff, and I said, wait a minute, did he just sign with Clutch? Yep. He's just in the process of signing with Clutch Sports. So that does play a role.
True.
The tampering king, Brian, gotta give him props. He has been pretty disappointing. I think his time in Toronto is kind of done.
Well, see, this is the thing, right? If you got Sam Sarania signs with Clutch Sports, you got that Kendrick Perkins signing with Clutch Sports. Don't that represent a conflict of interest?
Nick Wright too. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hold on. That Toucan same motherfucker signed with Clutch Sports too?
He's never denied it. Whenever they brought it up on his show and they joke about it, he's never denied it. And
that's why he be choking on LeBron's Oscar Mayer all the damn time.
It's obvious Clutch Sports has.
Yeah, it's been rumored that he's with Clutch Sports, and he's never denied it.
This is a conflict of interest. This is just as corrupt as. Look, I know I haven't talked any kind of politics lately, but this is just as bad as a politician taking money from an oil company when that oil company is set to have regulations against it. So if you a lobbyist or a person that's part of a political action committee, hey, I'm gonna go front this politician some money so this politician can go ahead and do my bidding so that way I don't have to have all these sanctions against me. That's how the corruption works. There ain't no goddamn journalistic integrity because these guys are bought and paid for. Now let's go to Stephen A. Smith because a similar situation play out here. When Dana White was busted on video beating his wife, right? Yeah, Dana White beat his wife on video. Why Stephen A. Smith wasn't going in this big old histrionics about that? And it turned out that Stephen A. Smith is a representative of the same company Dana White works for.
Yep. Endeavor.
The journalists were already on Twitter basically saying
Emanuel.
ESPN told him to stay hush.
Is a representative of the same company that's owned by Ari Emanuel. So when the Dana White situation came in, that's why he was running his mouth talking about, oh, well, I consider him a friend, and this is really unfortunate. And And I called Dana White to let him know that. Get the fuck out of here. These guys lack the journalistic integrity. I wouldn't be surprised if they're calling them behind the scenes, talking about, hey man, I really got to talk about this because this could be some people on my neck if I don't. And when you do, you hit the situation with kid gloves. You know why? Because you guys are compromised. You're bought and paid for. We will not get the true story of what really happens because these people represent a conflict of interest. They don't represent you. They don't represent me. They represent Rich Paul and all these other motherfuckers that are lining their pockets and shit because they want to protect their clients.
The last time he bucked from the trend, he got suspended. He don't want that to happen again. Pepperidge Farm, remember that? Remember when he got suspended? You don't want that to happen again?
Oh, Stephen A. Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that. And it's ironic. It's ironic that Molly Qerim, when defending Dana White, brought up the point that Stephen A. Smith brought up years ago that got him suspended.
Well, yeah, should no woman hit a man, should no woman hit a woman. Yep. Molly Qerim brought up the same point that got Stephen A. Smith suspended.
Facts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. But see, that's how this go. This was going to show you that these so-called black folks out here don't really listen to what's going on in the streets. We know what's going on, but the problem is they want you to listen to them, but we're not listening to them because the Cyclops is no longer locked to the idiot box.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell lies to me and expect me to believe it when you have all this information out here. Look, if I could look up Lola Marie on whatever kind of porn site, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get my fucking rocks off that night, right? Maybe one night when I don't want to watch Lola Marie, I can actually do some research about, hey, what the fuck is going on with Ben Simmons? You know what I'm saying? Why are you out here playing like a goddamn kangaroo? And I can look it up for myself. There's all kinds of YouTube videos. There's all kinds of articles. There's all kinds of behind the scenes that we don't know about that years later we get privy to that kind of information, and it ultimately makes sense. And we go back to the goddamn pre-draft report about how everything got to revolve around him. Remember when he got traded from Philadelphia? What was he saying? Oh man, Joel Embiid kept my ceiling. I gotta have a lane to the basket. I can't go to the basket if Joel Embiid there.
Whatever that means that you need to augment your game then. Well, whatever. I mean, look, Moses Malone came to the Sixers in '82. You didn't hear Julius Erving complaining, "Oh, I'm not going to be able to drive the basket as much."
Every other player on the planet would like to have a teammate on the caliber of a Joel,
yes,
and would work their game to try to work with him to get themselves to what could have been a championship level team, possibly a dynasty. But nah, Joel Embiid doesn't work for him, so he's not going to change.
Oh my God!
That's what Philly damn near was going to have a mob to pull him out the arena after that Game 7.
Hey, that pre-draft report was spot on, wasn't it?
They probably had pitchforks and shit at the arena.
Hey, Turo, wasn't that goddamn pre-draft report spot on him when it came to this motherfucker?
Yeah, and you know what? I forgot that he had said that. I forgot that Ben Simmons said that. Man, the more I'm being reminded of the stuff that he said, the more I'm beginning to realize why a lot of people despise this. Well, I know why people despise him, but I despise him even more, man. This guy is totally self-centered, man. Oh, God. Oh, my God. You got one of the two best centers in the NBA, and you talking about how he takes away from your game.
Can't make this stuff up. What's up, caller? Good to see you.
That's
Yep.
somebody saying, "Oh, Steph shoot too many threes. I don't get enough shine on the team because Steph
So
just shoots
what?
too many threes." Because he's good at shooting threes.
And that is what. Hey man.
Go ahead.
Hey man. This man is a true narcissist, man. This man is a true goddamn narcissist.
Hey, let me ask you guys a question. So officially, Ben Simmons is out with knee soreness, right?
Yeah, because his nose is connected to his knee too, Raw.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, you know, all I saw was a player's fingers. I couldn't tell who it was that hit him, but
It's Jaden Ivey. It was Jaden Ivey for the Detroit Pistons, and that play happened in the third quarter of that game.
Okay. All I saw was someone's fingers grazed the end of his nose. Ben Simmons grabbed his nose like he got punched by Mike Tyson and walk out the game. Normally, I didn't see a limp. I didn't see any of that stuff.
Mhm.
And then magically he has knee soreness.
Hey, not only that, you didn't see no limp. Well, you didn't even see no players help him off the court. That dude ran off the court with his own power.
They should have
Right.
brought out a fucking wheelchair like they did Paul Pierce in the finals.
It's sad. And speaking of Ben Simmons, he won't even play today against New York, which is sad.
Oh my God, man.
That we just say, Gideon.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah, we literally just said that. But yeah, that dude. I mean, he get grazed across the face. He's like, all right, I'm done with this, and you know, this is it. So my question is, when did his nose transfer to his knee? At what point? Did like when he was sleeping, did he sleep wrong? Or was he like in an uncompromising position trying to have some kind of kinky sex the way that pain went from the nose to the knee?
Well, yeah, because I never knew the knee bone connected to the nose bone. I never heard that.
Hey, listen, man, you need to look at a chakra map. It's connected through the chakras. His chi got thrown off. He has chi soreness.
Probably.
It's throwing off his energies. You need to burn some sage with Kyrie.
He got that goddamn. I mean, that was some straight up weird kinetic energy that happened there.
I don't know, man. You see what happened earlier this month. Not to switch to the NFL, but you saw what happened to the guy with the Bills, man. And you see a person one moment playing a game and the next moment literally fighting for their life. And you see the guy come back from that and more power to him. Then you see a guy like Ben Simmons who is totally healthy in the prime of his basketball career and just throwing it away, man. Just throwing it away and don't care. And then what's making me mad is 2 years from now, when he's out the NBA, more than likely, he's going to be crying somewhere talking about how he didn't get a fair shake. I had mental health issues. I don't want to hear that, Ben Simmons.
No one's listening to that, Ben. We don't need to listen to that, you know?
Yeah, I'm just tired of these guys, man. I'm tired of these dudes just ruining the NBA, man. I'm tired of them. I just want them out of here.
I agree. He's just narcissistical. He makes excuses. He's not accountable. And like you said too, Raw, he makes all these, I'm mentally weak. I'm not listening to that. All right. I'm not going to listen to that because there's a whole lot of people who are dealt with mental stuff, but they fight through pain. They fight through circumstance. So why can't you?
Right. That's not an excuse to fail. Mental health.
The biggest point LB made. It's going to mess it up for the players as a whole. It's going to mess it up for the Players Association. And at the end of the day, it's going to mess up their paper because they're going to see Ben Simmons and say, we're not going to have any of this going on anymore.
All right, speaking of Joel Embiid, Joel Embiid has been fined $25,000 for his celebration versus the Brooklyn Nets on the other night. So basically, he did the DX celebration, you know what I'm saying? You know, you got the X sign right next to your dick, right? Well, he did that celebration to the Brooklyn Nets, and he got fined $25,000. But anyway, let's continue on here with because I think everybody on this panel know how it got this bad. The problem I have with is that when you have a big time media conglomerate known as the mothership ESPN, who reaches millions of homes, and only reaches and you know on a random video I might reach like 20 homes, right? So so thanks to you two screwing me and shit like that, but hey, we're gonna keep the train moving nevertheless. ESPN reaches millions of homes, and they blatantly put out this disinformation about this guy, about any other player that they want to protect. They blatantly put out the disinformation. But when it comes to Giannis, though, oh man, these guys like mouth-frothing bulls and shit.
Yeah. I noticed like the last couple of years with Nikola Jokic, right? Nikola Jokic, one of the main talking points, one of the main narratives they have for why he should win the MVP is because, hey, man, he has the Nuggets in the 3rd or the 6th seed, you know, despite the fact that, you know, for much of the year, he didn't have help. He didn't have Jamal Murray, who was out with the, what was it, ACL injury?
And Michael Porter.
Michael Porter Jr. with his back.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, and Michael Porter Jr. And, you know, the fact that he has this team doing all of this, carrying his team on his back, okay. But I noticed with Giannis, who didn't have Chris Middleton, their second best player, for much of this year. And, you know, look, there was a stretch when Giannis was out, but still, there was a stretch when there was a stretch when both Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday were out, and they had other players out. And Giannis was doing a lot. I mean, at one point, Giannis was averaging 33 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, two blocks, but they don't have the same. They don't look at it the same. They don't look at Giannis doing all this extra heavy lifting. They look at it as, well, the Bucks aren't winning as many games now. Well, of course they're not winning many games because they're injury depleted. So I don't see a fairness sometimes with how they view and look at each player. It's like, I don't know whether it's because the guy's in a small market or whatever it is. They all have these weird narratives when it comes to certain players. And then one last point I want to make, historically, if you've been on a losing team, that pretty much exempts you from MVP consideration. But magically, they're trying to find reasons to include LeBron James in the MVP conversation.
Just crazy.
Just complete.
Age should have no bearing whatsoever in the MVP conversation.
And the Lakers are 13th in the Western Conference.
And also accolades. Even though LeBron's going to break the all-time record, that has no bearing on the MVP. The MVP is an in-season award. That team is not good this year. He is not in the MVP conversation.
Bro, OKC has a better record, and Portland. Nobody thought that. And Utah than LA. Think about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even Sacramento, who thought they're gonna have a better record than the Lakers? Nobody.
I did.
I mean, you did, but not the whole majority of people.
Yeah, because I was probably one of the only people you heard say that the Kings was gonna make the playoffs.
Oh, they're making it. You were right and I was wrong. They're making it. You were right.
And then
this bonus move was probably the shining move of the season, honestly, with what he's been doing.
And Keegan Murray, underrated. David Mitchell, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, what do you guys think about what do you guys think about Rudy Gobert?
Just a defensive player that has no offensive game.
Yeah.
The trade was a bust. Oh, well, the Wolves are not howling. No, they're not.
Not only was that trade a bust, but the fact that the value that he demanded itself messed up almost the entire market. So it was a move that sent a ripple effect throughout the entire offseason with how bad it was. It was like a nuclear bomb of bad.
Right, but here's what's so crazy about this. I'm checking the standings right now. Minnesota has won 2 in a row. They're only a game back of fourth. Think about that. Minnesota, that's crazy.
And what's
And
their record?
Minnesota's 26-25.
This is gonna be one of the craziest. You know, I'm.
Y'all got the wrong cat. It ain't me you looking for. I ain't did nothing to nobody. The hell out. You holding my arm too tight. God.
The end of the season is going to be uber crazy.
That was my bad on that one. I was trying to play a clip.
No, you're good. You're good. Terrell, you okay? You're buffering. How about go out or come back? How about that, Terrell? Yeah, you're buffering a little bit.
Yeah, he'd be all right. Maybe a flying cockroach got on the feed or something. But anyway, yeah, man. I mean, look, I'm telling y'all right now. As long as this man is donning an NBA uniform, I'm gonna be on his ass. Because there's no reason why he's in the league, and yet we got guys like Carmelo Anthony, DeMarcus Cousins, Lance Stevenson, Kenneth Faried, Dwight Howard. Why this motherfucker ain't playing in goddamn Taiwan?
Crazy, huh?
And he hitting threes too now.
Yeah.
I stand on that. I mean that shit. For the rest of his time in the NBA, I'm gonna beat on his motherfucking ass, barring a massive paradigm shift.
Yep.
I mean that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Ben needs to take the game seriously. I just don't think he takes the game seriously. And the issue I have with Ben Simmons, man, the dude wants to deflect blame. Bro, be accountable, man. Like, be accountable for your mistakes. You gotta be aggressive, dog. You're softer than molasses, man. Yeah, you're a good rebounder and passer, but have aggression, man. Stop being scared. Yeah,
Let me ask you a question, Gideon. Let me ask you a question. I didn't mean to cut you off. I gotta ask you a question. What's up, Max Royalty? Long time no see, bro. Good to see you. Hey, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
If he's been labeled as a narcissist, right?
Yeah.
Then how can he see those problems if he's a narcissist? Because last time I checked, a narcissist don't realize he has a problem. Matter of fact, a narcissist think he is perfect. He has absolutely no problems.
The problem manifested itself at its height when he saw his team be down 0-3 to what was it, Boston?
Yes.
Stepped on the court. He had nothing to lose. Even if he had a bad game, people would say this is a new situation. He's getting his feet wet off of something. You could have at least stepped on the court, but he was just sitting there in his Bratz doll ass outfit, watching his team get mopped by Boston.
The thing that killed, hey, kid, man, to your point, the thing that killed me was he hyped it up like he was coming back.
Yeah, Shaq called it a punk move. Yeah, he pulled a punk move.
He hyped it like he was coming back and all that, and only for this guy to not play in Game 4. I'm like, I saw that thing for what it was. He is a fucking fraud.
Yeah, that was just so horrible.
Man, get the fuck out of here. You a goddamn, he's shit water. That nigga is a fucking bum. I mean that shit. And I don't even like saying that A word. But that nigga's a fucking bum. I can't stand that motherfucker, yo.
I don't blame you, man. It's hard to like.
I hate that dude because it ain't nothing you gonna say. There ain't nothing that you gonna do that's gonna change his mindset. It seems like when his mind is made up about something, it's it. That's it. And how can you work with somebody who has that kind of mindset?
That's
how
ignorant.
can you sit up there and continue to waste your energy trying to charge a dead battery?
But someone who's just ignorant and who's just oblivious to what he's saying.
And I'm telling y'all right now, because they say he could be moving the trade deadline. I don't see nobody acquiring Ben Simmons. Nobody. And the GM that trades for that, well, guess what? you're going to be GM at Popeyes because you ain't going to be no GM of a goddamn NBA team.
So
You
LB,
the GM that transfer that motherfucker, you might as well go ahead and update your resume because Popeyes is hiring. What's up?
all right. So even with the drafting of Embiid, do you just see the whole process now in perfect and enough hindsight at this point as a failure? Because really, what did they get out of it?
Who, Philadelphia?
Yeah.
They ain't got nothing but fucking headache and harassment from it. So I won't be surprised if there be some video later on in a few years saying, doing a hypothetical or a projection of what could have been. So to answer your question, yeah, it was a failure. They ain't get no championship out the deal. Hell, they ain't even played in the conference finals.
Yep. They should have went to at least, you can argue, what, 2 conference final, 2018 and 2021? And even 2019 should have went to 3 conference final in that if you're Philly with Ben Simmons and Embiid, but you failed.
They lost Game 7 at home.
Yeah, at home to Atlanta, Game 7, they lost to Toronto at the buzzer, and then 2018 you lose to an injured Boston team without Gordon Hayward and Kyrie. That's unacceptable.
Man, don't talk to me, but that game, Ben Simmons missed a wide open dunk in one of those games. And then Joel Embiid, he lacked IQ because he's at the 3-point line and Robert Covington's down there with goddamn Al Horford. That's a mismatch.
Oh, that was in Game 3. And also even J.J. Redick bobbled the ball too. Yeah. Too much Butterfingers. Yeah, that was in Game 3 in 2018, second round. Yeah.
That's the game Philadelphia should have won. But, because it took a miraculous 3-pointer by Marco Bellinelli to force the game into overtime.
And not just that, it wasn't actually 3. It was actually a long 2. I mean, I know we can't do projections, but this is a hypothetical you can prove. If his feet was behind the line, they win that game. Because, you know what I mean? His feet was on the line. That's why it tied the game. I'm saying that if Bellinelli had stepped behind the 3-point line, the Sixers would have won that game.
Yeah, I guess we'll never know. But final thoughts, because I got to take care of some business, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm a busy fucking man. K-Man, you give us your final thoughts about this particular topic.
Yeah, Ben Simmons, his future is really highly in doubt. And I think the biggest takeaway from this is that we are going to see something in arbitrations going with this players union going forward, being a detriment on the player side. All of these, what we call it, load management or players taking mental time off. Like, nah, that's not going to happen with these hundreds of millions that we're giving you.
Gideon?
One, salute everyone. Nice seeing you again, King Emmanuel. Nice to see you again, Tura. Nice to see you again, LB. Please subscribe. Please smash those flags for my man LB, for my man Tura. Please subscribe to my channel, The Last Laugh Podcast, and also BX Sports Jedi number for the G Money Hoop Show. Ben Simmons, get your head out of your ass, man. Get it together, bro. Get it together, man. Like, you gotta be willing to be coached. You gotta be willing to get better, man. You gotta be willing to improve your game. Yep. Don't wave the white flag, Ben. Get your ass on the court and get what you can until you have no more. That's all I need to say. And also, don't listen to the media. That's all I need to say.
All right, y'all. Make sure you hit that like button, share these videos, and subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber. And look, this man is who he is at this point. I always talk about this. When you first come to the NBA, your first 2-3 years is when you are establishing yourself as one of the best players in the league, or you are, chopping out a role or carving out a role for yourself. After that third year, after that about third or fourth year, if you haven't made any progressions in your game, then you are who you are. And Ben Simmons' game has only regressed. It hasn't made any progress. It's regressed from his shooting the ball or lack of wanting to shoot the ball to this blind, uncanny narcissism that is becoming of him. It's just unacceptable, man. At the end of the day, this motherfucker need to be hopping. He need to hop back in that goddamn kangaroo pouch that he came out of and take his motherfucking ass back to Australia. This your man. Scream at me. Huh?